So one of the frustrating things about White Sands National Park when it comes to doing landscape photography is that the park doesn't open until, well after sunrise. Like the sun has already come up over these mountains back here in the background. And it's so frustrating because when I was driving over here, I could see that, these Sierras back here in the background, they were all lit up with color, all lit up with like really beautiful color, which would be a fantastic backdrop for the dunes. And really the only time to catch that light on the mountains in the background would be at sunrise. But unfortunately, as you can see right over here, I think you can see, there are gates, and these gates do not open until 7 a.m. They don't open until 7 o'clock in the morning each day. They do, to their credit, keep the park open until an hour after sunset each day. So, depending on, when sunset happens to be at that time of year, that's when the park closes. They used to have more fixed hours, and I got caught here one time when they were trying to close the park, like before sunset even happened, and it was really frustrating. At least now, sunset's a little more manageable. But sunrise is unfortunately a bit of a no-go. You can't catch it at blue hour or golden hour. But I'm here nonetheless. I'm still gonna hike in this morning and see if I can make do with some, the light's gonna be fairly contrasty. It's gonna be, a little bit blown out in some places, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a go nonetheless. So now I'm just hanging out and waiting for them to open. So one of the things that I find to be a little bit challenging whenever I come here and photograph White Sands, it's not like other dune fields where you have, like really tall dunes and some medium ones and some small ones. At White Sands, they all get up to about the same maximum height. I mean, there are some fairly large ones, but for the most part, they all get up to about the same height. And so when you get up on top of, these dunes and you look across, you do have mostly an unobstructed view all the way across the plain, but it's also a little bit challenging to create depth. So what I try to do is try to, instead of getting up on top of a dune, I try to get up about halfway, kind of like where I'm standing right now, get up about halfway so that then the line of the dune is a little bit higher in the frame and it's sticking up a little bit. But I'm not down on the ground shooting up at it and creating, it's kind of like standing on the street and shooting a building. That's not, you get distortion in your shot and all that kind of stuff. So I usually try to get somewhat of a medium height kind of position and then shoot laterally. And when you do that, sometimes the view can be quite nice. Like this over here is actually quite beautiful. Perfectly pristine, undisturbed line on that dune that is just coming around and flowing down this way. So then the challenge becomes, how high do you go? How low do you go? Where do you position the line within the frame? This is one of the funny things about shooting sand dunes, is that it really, at least in my mind, it really makes a point about how hard simplicity truly is. I think about things like modern design, modern architecture, anything where simplicity and breaking things down to the core components is, an integral part of the concept and the creative work. Whenever you start breaking things down and you make things super, super simple, well, then the simple things become extremely important. Line, things like texture, geometry, shape, and how it all fits within the frame. There's nowhere to hide. You can't hide, like a line that doesn't quite flow right or doesn't feel right or the rhythm isn't right. It is really hard to get right, I find, because those core elements are just on full display. They're so obvious when you look at the image. So, I'm gonna play around with this over here and see what I can do. I'm not even sure I need to shoot this with a tripod right now, honestly, because there's no wind, it's perfectly still, and it's clear. And this is going to require a fairly high shutter speed to shoot. So yeah, I don't know. I might just shoot this one handheld. the sun is being partially blocked by a couple of dark, low-hanging clouds. And so we're just getting just a little bit of motivational light, kind of, hitting some of the high parts of the dunes here, adding just, some very gentle, very delicate highlights. Maybe someone from New Mexico may know the answer to this, or maybe I'm just imagining it. I don't know. It's kind of like how people say that the light in California hits different, like it looks different, like it has more of a golden yellow hue, or maybe that's just, maybe that's memory color kicking in or something. But there is something, I swear there is something about the skies in New Mexico, or at least here. Maybe it's the lack of pollution, and the increased clarity. I don't know what it is, but it always seems blue skies are they always seem to be really blue here, and beautiful clouds as well. Man, these are so nice. I have to turn you around so you can see these. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about there. That's just beautiful. Really lovely skies. Absolutely fantastic. You kind of have to suffer through the hard parts. You kind of have to get through the drudgery of the super, super bright and hot sun. And then this is your reward towards the end of the day. It's fantastic.